Welcome everybody to China Insider. Today we have some explosive, I guess you wouldn't even call it exclusive, but sort of investigative details on Angela Chao's death. Now, this is a follow-up to the video we did a few days ago, questioning the mysterious end to Angela Chao, who is the sister-in-law of Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. And of course, the sister of Elaine Chao, who was the former transportation secretary. Gosh, my words today. Anyways, under the Trump administration. So I got some new details for you guys to get to, and I'll share that with you. Here was published today in the morning. Now, this is a follow-up because there's some new details that are actually really important to understanding why now I think that Angela Chao's death is not so simply as an incident of suicide or whatnot, okay? First of all, very strange thing is that the local sheriff's office, they've refused to release details regarding this case. Now, this does not mean that there's foul play here, but it does mean that this case is being taken either very seriously or it's trying to hide something, okay? Again, I'm not trying to say that they're being bribed to not release information, but I just think that something fishy is going on. Anyways, let's get into this, okay? So it says here, on February 11th, EMS responders were called to the 100th block of Schneider Lane in Johnson City at 12:03 a.m. for a reported water rescue. Okay, this is very important to understand because 12:03 a.m., this is February 11th.
All right, this is Editing David coming to you. Now, one of the details that I didn't mention in the video was that the person who called for the 911 actually had to reveal details about where the location of this happening. Now, who in the right mind in the middle of the night will go to this pond and basically, learn about that there's this water incident involving a car, right? So it makes me think that this basically proves that somebody else was there and they somehow witnessed the crime taking place, or somehow it has to relate to the process in which Angela Chao drowned. And otherwise, this is the middle of nowhere. And so the person that called the 911 is the most important person, and we know zero details about who that person is right now.
And this 100th block of Schneider Lane is a detail that was previously not known to the public until it was released by Benjamin Oakley, who is the EMS chief of Blanco County Emergency Services District Number 1. Okay, so this just came out. Now, if you go on Google and you look up 100 Schneider Lane, let's go here. Okay, so this is 100 Schneider Lane. Now, this is nowhere near a pond or lake or anything like that, as suggested by the article, which says that it was a water rescue, right? Water rescue. So I did some looking around, and here's what I found. So let me turn to this, okay? So first I went on Google Maps. This is 100 Schneider Lane. I first went to the right side here because I was like, oh, there's a body of water here. That's a pond, right? Because so basically what happens when you dam off a creek, this is the Miller Creek, right? The Miller Creek, that's what this body of water is called. If you put a dam here, as this one has, you essentially can make it into a pond. And that's what, I guess that's a way you can sort of create an artificial pond because you technically block off the water. Now, so I go here, right? And I go to my little guy and I kind of go to the end point, which is where, there's no more satellite for this. So I go to the end point here. And it leads me to this, which is, if you take a look here onto the left side, now this was taken in April of 2023. So this was recent, but not so recent, right? Not as recent as the incident. And then so I basically go to JW Ranch. I'm like, what the heck is JW Ranch? If you search JW Ranch, I'll save you all the hassle. It's 101 Schneider Lane. So it's not 100 Schneider Lane, but it's 101 Schneider Lane. And the address is this, right? It belongs to the former CEO of IBM, who also resigned, I believe, from AveNet. So his name is William Amelio and his wife, Jamie Amelio. Now, after sifting through a bunch of their social media, blah, 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 her most recent post for Jamie was actually 5 days ago, which means that if they were somehow involved in this, it's very likely that they will be under investigation, so they wouldn't be, still appearing in public. So I got sort of got rid of that, right? Now, obviously, there was the Kyle Bass information dump, which was from the very first day. This was February 14th, which says that Chao entered her Tesla and backed into a pond on the ranch and passed away. Now, Kyle Bass is a trusted source on China information, so I believe his words. Unfortunately, though, I don't know which pond or which ranch he's talking about, but it is in Blanco County, which is where the incident is happening, right? Okay, so let's continue. Let's go back first to our ranch here. So basically, I go back to my bird's eye view. I've eliminated 101 Ranch, which is this little part here, as sort of my suspected area of where this happened. Because again, the emergency responders aren't telling you, the entire sheriff's office, they're not telling you about these details. They're just saying that there's no foul play involved. So I'm like, okay, something's fishy is going on here, right? And then I look to the left side, which is this pond here. That's also still Miller Creek. But if you drag your little guy over to this part, you get this view, which is called B or something, right? And then I went and looked at the road sign here. If I zoom closely to that, it's Bird Ranch. Okay, so Bird Ranch is very interesting because if we just kind of keep going down this road here, you see that this is actually again, another dammed off creek, which is called a pond again. So that fits, if you go back to our original article, it says, so an ambulance arrived at 12:12 a.m. At the scene. Remember, the actual call was, I believe, made sometimes around 12:03, okay? And it says where a car containing one person was completely submerged in a pond, estimated to be between 12 to 15 feet deep. That's according to Oakley, who is the EMS, Blanco County EMS chief, Ben Oakley. Okay, so what does 15 feet of pond looks like? Well, this is a YouTube video that shows a 15-foot tall this frame for a swimming pool. So it doesn't look that high, actually. But then if you go on to talk about the size of a, let's see here, dimension of a Tesla, right? That's the car that she's supposedly drowned in. The overall height is about 64 inches, which is about 5.3 feet. So given the size of this here, and later on, which I found on a real estate website, I don't know if it shows in this one here. So again, this is the actual listing for this. The dam itself, right? So this dam here, this one. Let me try to get a picture of this so I can show you here. This one. Oops. So the dam itself is about 30 feet. Okay, so 30 feet, about 15 feet of water makes sense, right? And so the Tesla was completely submerged in here. So this essentially became my sort of primary area, which is very close. So going back again to this, right? So this is from distance from Schneider Lane would be, let's see here. Okay, so it's about a minute drive or about an 8-minute walk. So it is, so remember 100 Schneider Lane was where the call was supposedly made. That's where the EMS arrived in. This is about, now if the details I remember correctly, is about 9 minutes later, responders discovered a vehicle underwater. So by the time that they arrived at 100 Schneider Lane to the time that they took for them to arrive at this pond here, it takes about less than 10 minutes for them to do that. Now, this is the middle of the night, remember, right? So there's not a lot of light everywhere. But if you are from the Blanco County and you sort of familiarize yourself with this area, which I'm sure the EMS responders are familiar with, they can probably guess that, you know, this is the water. There's supposed to be a water rescue. So let's look somewhere else, right? Now, if you could go to the right side, as we have, the water is actually dried out. I can show you here. So you see that water is dried out. So from me, looking at this photo, it makes me believe that the dam is actually cutting off a lot of the water downstream here. So that's why this part is very much dried up, but also because of the season, potentially, so we don't know. And before we continue, here's a sponsor segment from Puriton. If there is one supplement you want to get incorporated into your diet, it's a good omega-3 supplement. It's the best all-around defender for your health. It reduces inflammation, cholesterol, improves eyesight, and reduces risk for heart problems, as well as helps with joint pain, among other benefits. Today, I want to introduce you to Puriton's green vegetables. Puriton gets their ingredients straight from the high mountains of South Korea, and the omega oils are extracted from purslane and perilla seeds. It's 100% vegan. Now, personally, I've been using Omega for about 9 years, close to 10 years now. I've recently switched to Puritan for about a few weeks now. Here's why. We mostly get our Omegas from fish, right? But that's not the best case for everyone, especially there's the aftertaste. It might not be suitable for vegetarians or vegan. So the most important part, right, we often forget is the actual concentration for Omegas. Puritan soft gels have a much higher content for Omega 3, 6, 7, and 9 than many of the brands out there. And some say that they notice there's less hair loss, more energy, lower cholesterol levels, and overall improved health. I think the best part for me is the lack of inflammation or the reduction of inflammation. Other brands also use this high heat method to extract the oil, which in turn creates a lot of harmful byproducts. Puritan's green vegetable is done using a patented method of supercritical carbon dioxide low temperature extraction, so it preserves the natural properties and maintains high purities. First of its kind. So get it for yourself or as a gift to your loved ones ahead of the holiday season. Use my code DZ2023 and you can receive free shipping globally. Check out my link in the description and comment today. Okay, now if we go to the actual photos here, so this is again is a listing one, right? There's a platform here. So this platform, as you can see here, and this paved sort of with dirt area you can actually drive into. Oh yeah, so this photo here. See how there's that white truck in the back? So there's a path clearly that you can come here. Now the question becomes, right? Why was Angela Chao doing something around this area at 12 a.m. in the morning? Was she actually backing herself inside a Tesla into this pond? Was she doing it, by this platform here? We don't know, right? So that still remains a mystery. But what I can definitely say is that her death is very abnormal to the point I think there's some level of foul play involved, but the whole situation is not being told to us because something bigger is in place. Now, what exactly that is, I have no concrete evidence to support it. We have to wait for the full police investigation. Chances are it's going to get buried under a suicide or some sort of like that. But knowing her connection, now, if you remember, Angela is the CEO of the Foremost Group, right? She is the CEO of Foremost Group, which is a shipping company. Her association with the Chinese Navy through the shipping company, as was previous her role serving as the board member for China Shipping, she has severe ties to the Chinese military. Now, remember, we covered a lot of this back in the days, right? The Chinese military is going through a massive purge, and there's also ties suggesting her to that of, many different sources, but, unconfirmed again, of course. But this all kind of links it together because she is clearly somebody that the CCP knows is heavily involved with the domestic politics as well as the American politics. Her husband, Jim Breyer, who just recently, I believe last month, said that he is pausing investment into China for 18 months. Now, his capital, IDG Capital, is also listed as a Chinese military entity. So both of them, the husband and the wife, Jim Breyer and Angela Chao, they're heavily invested and they're intertwined into Chinese intelligence, particularly military intelligence. So if somebody wanted to eliminate her and to sort of, serve as a caution warning to the husband, who knows, right? I'm not trying to come up with a conclusion. That's up to the police and the investigation, the sheriff's office, whoever else. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of mystery points here. So what I can definitely say right now is that looking at the photos and looking at the information provided to us, this is my most educated guess on where this took place, which is in this little pond here, or also known as a creek, but also dammed off, it's a pond. And let me see what else is there to talk about. This is all done. Oh yeah, so the bird ranch. Okay, a little bit on the bird ranch. It's a 413-acre live water ranch in the Texas Hale County. Now the ranch itself, right, the gate, as we saw in this bird's eye view here, but let me go to the gate again. This is the exact same gate as our gate here. So what I assume is that this is a private gated land, but within this 413 acres of land, which I believe cost about 6.8, let me if I can find it here, $6.8 million. You can actually buy like plots of it, maybe like 10, 20 acres or so as different lands because, like looking at this address here, this is 17, what is this? Yeah, so for 10 acres is about $1.1 million. You can buy the 1711 Bird Ranch Road, and that apparently includes this lake. What's interesting to me is that this land here, the 1711, looking at the price history, it's currently, as of February 8th, so before the death, was in a contingent buying process for $1.1 million. So I don't know, is that fishy to you? Let me know in the comments. What else here? So that's all done. And this, again, also one of the selling point for this ranch is the dam and the water, right? Because the thing about this is like you can really, okay, so here it says it's a 16-foot deep dam, but the water level, could be fluctuating. From the descriptions in other places, it says that it's been, a long time since they've consistently dammed off the water. So now it's basically a small lake because the water is consistently flowing to this area, matching that 15 feet of depth. Here it says it's an unfortunate accident. Now, again, there were previous reports from especially Chinese state media saying that she was involved in a trucker car accident. Again, that's been proven to be false. Right now, the situation with her, somehow ending in the lake, drowning, is the most correct version of her death. But to call it unfortunate accident, we still don't have much details, which according to the, Texas Public Information Act, you're supposed to give people the address and the basic details of this particular event, but we haven't gotten any of that. And there's still no information on whether a forensic exam has been conducted or not, as the Austin Statesman has tried to reach the local judge to get that information, but they were unable to. So they're obviously still complaining about this, right? So this isn't the end of that. And, it's very interesting why Kyle Bass says that this was a particular Tesla over other cars, because so far the information regarding the Tesla is only from Kyle Bass. Nobody else has mentioned that detail, including the Statesman. So we'll still have to see whether or not that is actually a Tesla car, because if you think about it, it's very easy for the investigators to go to Tesla and say, by the way, we have this particular case. It would help to clear up your particular name if you just tell us the data on this particular Tesla, if again, it is a Tesla, but they haven't done that yet. And that's it today for the episode on the follow-up and the little details investigating Angela Chao's death and her location of where it happened. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts on this topic, and subscribe to our channel. All right, until next time, bye-bye.